All right, so Pythagorean theorem. The formula for the Pythagorean theorem: a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So for this assignment, we are going to be squaring numbers, and the opposite of squaring is square rooting. So the formula is as if we're looking for c squared, but we're not. We're looking for c. So the first thing we need to do is convert inches to feet. Feet to inches, and then we're going to need to square the numbers. We'll need that. So a squared number, first of all, this is a symbol for square, right? This is a symbol for square root. Square root symbol look like a division sign, but it got a check mark on it. All right, check. Square root. So we're going to be squaring numbers, square rooting them, and as I told you before, we were doing a first lesson for week 6, converting decimal notations to measurements. We will be doing that as well. And when we're dealing with the Pythagorean theorem, we will be rounding to the nearest 16th of an inch. All right? We will be rounding to the nearest 16th of an inch. The whole time, anytime you have a decimal. So no thought in that. Think 16 on center. And again, the formula is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So we're going to be squaring numbers. And the examples are here. We got 7 squared. And what a squared number is 7 times itself. 7 times 7 is 49. 7 squared is 49. 7 twice. 7 times 7. 8 squared. 8 times 8 is 64. 8 squared is 64. And 12 squared. 12 times 12 is 144. That's how we square numbers. All right? That's a number multiplied by itself. Squared. Now, if I wanted to square root this, let's say we want to square root 49. Which is the opposite. So basically, square rooting a number is basically asking you, what number can I multiply by itself to get 49? And that answer is 7. So on your calculators, that square root button, you need to have that square root button. All right? The square root button looks like a division sign with a check mark on it. When we're dealing with the Pythagorean theorem, we're dealing with right triangles. Right? 3 sides. We have side A, we have side B, and we have side C, which is also called the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse, you don't have to memorize this, is the longest side of that right triangle. So for this assignment, I want to keep it based on what's on the final. We will always be looking for the hypotenuse. We will not be looking for side A or side B, so you don't have to worry about that because it's not on the final. That's not my focus. My focus is what's on this final. So we will always be looking for the hypotenuse. Again, the hypotenuse is the longest side. So that means your answer should never, ever be shorter than what side A or B is. All right? A meaning adjacent, B, base, anything to keep it simple. And when we're doing a Pythagorean theorem again, we're adding and squaring numbers. When we're adding, it doesn't matter which order you put this in. All right, so if we had, let's say this was 3 feet, that's 4 feet, and we're looking for C. All right? There's my adjacent side, there's my base. First thing I need to do is convert feet to inches. I got 3 feet. I got to convert that to inches. I got 36 inches there. Got 4 feet for the base. Multiply that by 12, I got 48 inches there. Right? So again, convert feet to inches. We throw them in here. We square these numbers. And I'm going to just go ahead and finish this. So we got 36. I'm tripping. Stop that. So all we're doing is plugging it in the formula. A, we got 36 squared. The base, B, we have 48 squared equals C c squared. So all you're doing is converting feet to inches. If you had inches, you would add it to the inches you already have, but you don't. And then you just plug it into the formula. A is 36 squared, B is 48 squared equals c squared, but we're looking for c. Once you add these two numbers together, you have to square them and add them. Let's finish it. You have to square them and add them. Come on. Come on, Peanut Gallery. We have to square them and add them, so let's finish it off. Let's finish it up. So we got 36 squared.
Plus 48 squared.
Come on, work it out. 36 squared is... I hear you.
Yeah.
1,296. Yes, sir. All right. So now, when you multiply 48 squared, tell me what you get. Yep. 2,000. 2,304 equals c squared. So we got 36 squared plus 48 squared. We take the two, add them together, and tell me what you get. Yes, sir. 3,600 equals c squared. All right, so the first thing we did was converted feet to inches. We plugged them in the formula, right? Come on, help me out.
You square them.
Yep.
Now you gotta.
So what's the next step? We always have to, the final answer, we have to square root it. No. We have to square root it. So when we square root 60, I'm sorry, I just said the answer. When we square root 3,600, let me do it right. We got 3,600. What number can I multiply by itself to get that? We would have a flat out 60 equals c. And that 60 would represent 60 inches. There's no decimal. So we don't need to round to the nearest fraction of an inch because there's no fraction. There's no decimal. So we have to take those inches, convert it to feet. I know that the answer is 5. So C equals 5 feet. 3, 4, 5. So for this assignment, that is all you need to do. Follow the processing of it if you need to. Say it when you're working it out. It will click easy. Create a flow for yourself. And we're about to get it started. Happy Friday. We're about to get it in. So, Pythagorean Theorem with measurements. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. That is the formula. The first thing we need to do is convert inches to feet. Why do we convert inches to feet? Because it's going to give you a more accurate answer. Yeah, you can take the feet and square them, but it's not 100% accurate. I know this from doing the work and doing your assignments myself. So the first thing we want to do is convert feet to inches. We're looking for C. We will never be looking for A or B. I'm not going to worry about that because that is not on your finals. I want to focus on what's on your finals. So first thing we need to do is take side A, convert it to feet. How do we convert feet to inches? Multiply by 12. So 7 times 12 is? We got 84 inches there, right? And then 4 times 12 is 48 inches there. My 8s look like a 5, I was told. All right. So now all we're doing is we have to square these numbers. Again, it's A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So addition is interchangeable. So I could say 48 squared plus 84 squared equals C squared, or 84 squared plus 48 squared. So we have 84 squared plus 48 squared equals C squared. But we're not looking for C squared, we're looking for C. So let's get started. 84. If you don't have the squared button, all you do is 84 plus 84 times 84. So when you square 84, what do you get? I'm waiting. When you square 84, you get 7056 plus 48 square. When you square 48, you get. Yes, sir.
96.
All right. So when you square 48, 48 times 48 is 2304 equals c squared. So then we just add the two together. 7056 plus 2304, we get 9360. C squared is 9360. So the next step we have to do is we just square root that. So we take that 9360, and when we square root it, it looks like a division symbol with a check sign on it. When we square root 9360, we get what?
96.747.
Hold on. 96.747.
9298.
And the unit of measure on here is inches. Because the first thing we did was converted feet to inches. So we're going back to that first lesson. I told y'all will see it again, converting decimal notations to a unit of measure. And when we're dealing with the Pythagorean Theorem, anytime you have a decimal after you square root your answer, square root the number, you will always be rounded to the nearest 16th thing, 16 on center. So the first thing I'm going to do is deal with this 96. This 96 represents what?
Inches.
Inches. So I'm going to bring them over here. And how do I convert inches to feet?
Times 12.
No.
Divide.
So here I'm going to divide this by 12. I'm going to come back to that. All right? Next step. We dealt with that whole number of inches. What do we do next?
27 plus 7.
Yep. Take that back end of that decimal point and multiply it by 16 to the nearest 16th of an inch. This little boy. Whew. So when you multiply the back end of that decimal by 16, you get 11.9534 and some other stuff, right? Because when we're multiplying by that fraction of an inch to the nearest 16th of an inch, we're looking for our fraction. Don't forget. Don't forget the back end of that decimal, when we're dealing with inches, represents a fraction, if you're going to have one. So we're looking for the fraction. Because we're rounding to the nearest 16th of an inch, we're looking for the fraction. Whew. And what number is telling me if I can round up or not?
7.
We got 11.953. No. The number immediately to the right, in the tens place, we back to that again. Because we're rounding up the whole number because we're looking for the numerator for our fraction. So that 11 becomes 12. We can round up. Denominator, 16. Always asking we reduce. And we can. We got 3/4 of an inch. And we know that part of this answer is 3/4 of an inch. All right? So now we got to still deal with this 96 inches. We want to find out how many 12s we can get out of 96. That 8 represents my feet, no inches. So my final answer is 8 feet, 3/4 inches. Hey, little boy, come on. This way. Beat it. All right. So first answer, we got 8 feet, 3/4 of an inch. Again, you will always be rounding to the nearest 16th of an inch when we're dealing with the Pythagorean Theorem. You will always be rounding to the nearest 16th when we're dealing with the Pythagorean Theorem. All right? So, convert feet to inches. Convert everything to inches. Y'all about to turn the TV off. Convert everything to inches, and then we just throw it in a formula. We square those numbers. So we got 84 squared plus 48 squared equals c squared. And all 84 squared is, we're multiplying that number by itself. All right? So when we got the 84 squared, we got 7056 plus 2304. It gave us 9360. You have to square root that answer. It looks like a division sign. It has a check mark in front of it. Think of it like that. If it gives us a decimal again, we're going to round to the nearest 16th of an inch. Think 16 on center. The front end represents my whole inches. Anytime you have 12 or more inches, always convert it to feet and inches. And then always reduce your final fraction. Reduce to the lowest terms. So now let's look at the next one. Number 2. We got 13 feet 2 inches for side A. The adjacent side base, which is actually on the top now, is 21 feet 5 inches. First thing we need to do is convert feet to inches. So we're going to take that 13 times 12, which is 156 plus the 2. It's going to give us 158 inches. So here we got 158 inches. So now, look at the base. We got 21 feet 5 inches. 21 feet 5 inches. 21 times, convert feet to inches. 21 times 12 is?
252.
Plus the 5 inches we already have, which gives us,
257.
here we got 257 inches. And we're looking for C. Next thing we do is plug it in a formula. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So we take the 158 squared plus 257 squared equals C squared. Right? So when we square 158, what do we get?
316.
When we square 158. 158 times 158.
24. 1964.
When you square 257, 257 times 257.
66. 049.
Don't erase anything. So now you got 66,049, 66,049. Add that 24,964 to it. Not forget you get that. And tell me what you get.
90,995.
90.
90. You see 24.
All right, I got you. All right. So we got 91,013, 91,043 when we add that together, which gives us C squared. But we have to do what?
Convert, yeah.
We have to square root it.
Square root, yeah. So it's not, yeah, 91,013.
Yeah, I saw that. 013 equals. We're looking for C. So when you square root 91013, what do you get?
301.6836,091
Inches. Because we converted the feet to inches first. So now we have 301.6836,091 inches. That 301, a number to the left and a whole number's place represent what?
inches.
Your whole number of inches. All right? I'm going to come back to that. The back end of this, 0.83691. We need to round that to the nearest fraction of an inch. What is that fraction? To the nearest 16th of an inch. 10.937745 10.93 and some other stuff, right? Because we're looking for a fraction. When we're looking for our fraction, we're rounding up the whole number to the left because we're looking for the numerator for our fraction. This is also our rounding point. The first number to the right of the decimal is telling me whether I could round up or not, and that 9 is telling me I can. So I have
11 inches. 11 over 16.
Yep, I'm looking for a fraction of an inch. You always ask, can you reduce? Can you reduce 11/16? Nope. So far we know the back end of that answer is 11/16 inches. But we still have to deal with this 301 inches. So right here, how do I convert inches to feet?
12.
Divide by 12. 12 goes into 301. And 25 represents what?
Inches.
We had 300. Whole number of what?
Whole number of feet.
Yep, so we got C equals 25 feet. That 1 represents
The inch.
1 and 11/16 inches. And that is our final answer. The Pythagorean Theorem is pretty easy. It's pretty fluent. Got a little flow. All you got to do is remember how to process it, and you'll be fine. Convert feet to inches. If you have inches, add it to the inches you already had. 156 plus 2 gives us 158 inches. Convert feet to inches, add it to the inches you already have, then you square those numbers. All right, number 3 and 4. Sometimes you will come across problems that just have a whole unit of measure in just feet. No inches, just feet. Again, can you just take those feet and square them and get an answer? For the most part, that answer will come out right, but it is not 100% accurate. Not 100% accurate. You'll be able to get away with it quite a bit on this homework assignment, but it's not 100%, so we're going to follow the rules for the Pythagorean Theorem with measurements. Convert feet to inches. So we got 6 feet for side A, the adjacent side. Convert feet to inches. 6 times 12 is?
72.
We got 72 inches here. We got 8 feet on the bottom. 8 times 12 is? 96 inches there. With this one, we have the inches. Next thing we need to do is square root them. All right, so we got 72 squared plus 96 squared equals C squared. All right, take 72 and square it. 72 squared gives us
5184.
5184. Plus 96 squared equals
96 squared equals 9216.
equals C squared. So when we add it together, we get
14,400.
equals C squared, but we're not looking for C squared, we're looking for C.
Let's see.
So we have to square root the 14,400. So 14,400, the square root of that gives us what?
207.
No, sir. When we square root 14,400, we get flat out 120. 14,400. When we square root that, we get 120. We don't have a decimal. So that means we will not be looking for that fraction of an inch, which would have been to the nearest 16th of an inch. Because there's no information following that whole number. We just have a whole number of inches. So 120 inches, what do we do? Is that our final answer?
How many 12s?
Right, so we got to find out how many 12s can we get out of 120 inches,
10.
which is 10.
So it's 10 feet.
Whoops, why do you say 10? 12. So C equals 10 feet. All right. No. All right, so let's look at the next one. Number 4, we got A equals 9 feet 3 inches. First thing I need to do is convert feet to inches. So 9 times 12. 9 times 12. 108. Plus 3.
111.
We got 111 right there. And then 5 times 12. 60 inches there. All right, so now we need to square them. Feet to inches, added to the inches we already have. And now we just plug it in a formula. We have 111 squared plus 60 squared equals C squared. When you square 111, what do you get?
12,321.
12,321. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. 12,321. And when you square root square 60, you get
3,600.
3,600 equals C squared. And when we add them together, we get
1, right?
yeah. When we add them together, we get
15,921.
equals C squared. But we have to do what with this?
Root it.
Square root it. 15,921. When we take 15,921, and when we square root that, we get
126.1784.
126.1784. And some more stuff. Give me some more.
451.
Is it 4 4 or just 1 4?
It's 4451.
Woo! 4451 inches. All right. Don't like the way that looks. It just looks too like it's not going to be able to be seen good. 4451 inches. Better. All right. So now what do I do?
126, move to the side.
What does that represent?
Whole inch.
Whole inches. So I'm gonna bring it over. You got 126 inches. Now what?
Minus that off your answer on the calculator.
Mm-hmm.
And give you that. Then you times 12. Divide. Nope.
To the nearest
To the
fraction
nearest fraction.
of an inch.
Right.
To the nearest 16th of an inch. You will not be multiplying anything by 12. To the nearest 16th of an inch. You're looking for your fraction.
2.85.
2.85 and some other stuff. I'm looking for my numerator. What's telling me if I can round up or not? Because this is my rounding point. 8 is telling me what?
Go up.
To 3.
Yep.
What do I do with the 3?
Put that over 16.
Always ask, can you reduce? Can you?
316. Nope.
Nope. So far we know for a fact that we got 3/16 of an inch. So now we need to deal with that 126 inches. How do I deal with it?
126 divided by 12. 12 divided by 126.
Nope, you said it right the first time. 126 divided by 12. We can get 112 out of there. And you get what?
10 with 5 left over.
10 with what left over?
10.5.
Yep, so if you're using your calculator to divide at that point, that'll throw you off and get you the wrong answer. So if you're going to use your calculator, you take that whole number to the left of the decimal point. 12 times 10 is 120. You take 120 from 126, it's not going to leave you with 5, it's going to leave you with 6. So be very, very, very careful of that. Okay? So again, if you're using your calculator to convert feet to inches at this point, the back end of that decimal, there's a way you deal with that, but I don't want you to deal with that. Drop it off. Take that whole number, 10 multiplied by 12, it gives you 120. Subtract that from the 126 inches. The 6 is actually 6 inches, not 5 inches. There's my feet. Final answer is 10 feet, 6 and 3/16 inches. Be careful when you're converting inches to feet. All right, so we're going to do one more like this, and then we're going to move on to the other part of this assignment. It's a pretty short homework assignment. Number 5, we got side A. The adjacent side is 3 feet 2 inches. The base, which is on the top, is 4 feet, and we're looking for C. C, again, longest side, the hypotenuse. The C should never be shorter than side A or B. It should never, because C is the longest side. It's called the hypotenuse. It should never be shorter than side A or B. So the first thing we need to do is convert feet to inches. 3 times 12. Plus 2.
Plus 2, 38.
Let me see more of these. There. So we got 38 inches for the adjacent side, and then the base, 4 times 12 is
56, 60. 48.
whew, I hope they don't hear you. So 12 times 4 is 48. Put that water down. So now we need to do what? We need to square root these numbers, right? Square and then square root. So we square the numbers first. We got 48 squared
38 squared.
plus 38 squared equals C squared. But we're looking for C. But we're going to follow the formula to process it. So 48. When we square 48, what do we get?
48 squared is 2,304.
And when we square 38, what do we get?
1444.
Equals C squared. And when we add these together, we get
3748.
3748. C squared equals 3,748, but we're not looking for square, we're looking for C. So we have to do what?
Times 16. Right?
No.
No. Oh.
We always, yep, we have to square root. They're going to be like, why, Miss Wesley? Is that square root it to get out? We need to square root that to find C. All right? So when we square root that, trust me, that's the same mistake a lot of people will make. You have to square root that answer first.
61.22.
Keep going. 61.2209.
09. 1146.
Trust me. It's a good thing. Believe it or not, that's not the mistake y'all want to make. You have to square root it. All right, so now we have a decimal. That 61 represents what? A whole number of what? Inches. So we're going to do what with it?
Push to the side.
Let me push it to the side and deal with that in a minute. We'll holler back. Because we got to find out how many 12s we can get out of there. So the back end of this, we have to find our fraction. The inches is telling me that that's a fraction back there. So I have to round it to the nearest 16th of an inch. So I have to multiply the back end by 12.22091146 times 12. I'm sorry. Sheesh. I'm tripping. I'm glad I caught
16,
it.
yeah.
Times 16 equals inch. I doing at this point?
Rounding up.
What's telling me to round?
5.
Why am I rounding up?
Because that's the person on the right side of
Well,
this.
why am I rounding up?
Because we're trying to get a whole inch. We're trying to get inches.
We're trying to get our fraction of an inch, the numerator. Yes, sir. So that 3 becomes,
The 3/16. I mean 4.
yeah, we round up to 4.
16.
Denominator stays the same unless we can
Reduce.
reduce.
That's 1/4.
So far we know.
1/4.
All right, we're going to come back to that because now you told me I have 61 inches. I have to convert that to feet. How many 12s can I get out of 61?
5.
This 5 represents what?
Inch. I mean
Feet.
Feet.
1 inch. Final answer is
5 feet. 1 1/4 inch.
C equals 5 feet, 1 1/4 inches. And that's the final answer. So convert feet to inches, add it to the inches you already have. Then you square the numbers. After you square the numbers, you're going to add them together. You have to square root your number, your answer. Once you add those two unit of measures, which we turn to fractions, inches, you have to add it together and then you square root it. After you add, then you square root. It's going to give you a decimal for the most part. The whole number in front represents your inches. The back end, you're looking for a fraction, and it's always to the nearest 16th of an inch. And always ask yourself, can you reduce? If so, reduce to the lowest terms. All right, so for these shapes that we have on the board, 2 to the left are just regular rectangles with rectangles inside them, and 2 to the right look like a house. So you will receive all of this on your final. The ones that I like to hit on the most is these first 2 to the left of the board. So pretty much what's on the board? Up the top, on the top of that rectangle is showing you the measurement for the inside of that box. And to the left on the outside is showing you the measurement for the inside of the box. And all I want to know is, do you have enough information to find a measurement in that dotted line? And you do. How? Because the distance from here to here is 30 feet. The distance from here to here is 40 feet. And all it's asking you to do is
Find out
the line, which is what formula? We've been doing it the whole while.
C.
You're looking for C. Absolutely, the Pythagorean Theorem. This is going to be on your final, and it is a little tricky because we're going to be using this one shape multiple times, and I'm going to dig in this a little bit more when I'm talking to y'all face to face. So yes, we can find the length of that dotted line, which is C. It's not specifically saying so, but we're looking for C, the dotted line, and we will be rounding the same thing to the nearest 16th of an inch. Yes, you have enough information. So you take the 30 feet, convert it to inches. Take the 40 feet, convert it to inches. We're not going to work this out, just showing y'all some problems towards the end of this assignment. And you will be able to work this out. So the same thing that we've been doing prior, the only difference is we're dealing with some rectangles, and you got to find that line. Pythagorean Theorem. That's the formula. That's what this lesson is, so that's the formula that you're working out. For the second one, 17 feet 8 inches running across the top. 19 feet running along up and down on the side. 19 feet 4 inches. Same thing, we're looking for C. The difference is, now we're looking for the dotted line that starts here and it runs all the way through and ends here. It's a difference. But the same thing, we're looking for C. And what is C in this case? Well, there's adjacent side base, which is here. I could have traced it there, and we're looking for that. On this one, we were looking for bam, bam, and we're looking for this dotted line. So I should have actually did it like this. Bam, bam. The rectangle is nothing but 2 triangles split in half. Yeah, 2 triangles formed together, rather. So we're looking for C. Same thing. We got 17 feet 8 inches. which runs from here to here. If this is 19 feet 4, that's 19 feet 4. Well, we have 19 feet 4 inches that runs from here to here. There's the adjacent side, there's the base. We're looking for C. Convert feet to inches, add it to the inches we already have. Convert feet to inches, add it to the inches we already have. Just plug it in a formula. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Again, for the finals, everything that you're going to be looking for is C. You won't do anything other than that. So I want to keep it simple and not focus on something that's not going to be on the test. All right, so let me number these two, just in case. All right, so number 3, we dealing with a crib. All right, so we're looking for common rafter 1 and 2. So let's imagine that this is split from the top of the vertex perpendicular down to the base, right? Split right down the middle. And I'm not ganning in here, but that's what it is. So we have some information. I need to give you a little bit more. Let's say that both of them share an adjacent side that's 9 feet. So basically what this is showing you is this. You have one side that's 9 feet here. This side also is 9 feet here. That's what that top is saying. So far, that's what we know for sure. We have a base that's 40 feet. The base of this house is 40 feet from here to here. If it's 40 feet from there to there, guess what? The distance from there to there is 40 feet. And if it's split in half, half of 40 is what? 20. So now I have enough information to be able to find common rafter 1 and common rafter 2. The information will be the same. You only need to work it out once. So this is what that is. Once this served its purpose, you're done with it. It served its purpose. It gave me the rest of the information that I needed, which is the base for both of these right triangles. All right? So now you have the information. You figure it out. Same thing like the Pythagorean Theorem. Here's my right triangle here. All right? Adjacent side, 9 feet, base 20. And the same thing on the other side. Here's my right triangle here. All right? They both share that one side, the adjacent side, which is 9 feet. So what we do is we take the 9 feet, convert it to inches, take the 20 feet, convert it to inches, and then we just plug it in the formula. All right? Plug it in there, work it out. Pythagorean Theorem formula. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. That's how you work that out. Whatever you talking about. What? No. All right. So all of these is the Pythagorean Theorem. All right. All of them. Let's look at this fourth one, the last one. Now we have a house where the rooftop is not so even, right? One triangle is larger than the other. We're looking for common rafter 1, common rafter 2. Now I'm going to say that they share a leg that's 7 feet. We know that the base of the house is 60 feet. That means the distance from here to here is also 60 feet. Yeah. But we need a little bit more information. So if I tell you, okay, we know what this information is. This is 15 feet. So now what you know for sure now is this right triangle, 7 feet, right, for the adjacent side. The base equals 15 feet. Let's get it. We can find C there. But we're missing a little information here. For this side, we know that we got 7 feet there. We need to figure out what that base is in order for us to be able to find C. All right? So how would I figure out what the base is for that one? Always enough information for you. We know that the base, we know the distance from here to here is 60 feet, right? We know.
That was 45.
Right. It would be 45 because if you take 60, they're giving you a total amount and they're giving you a part of that total amount. This goes back to one of the points for knowing if you need to subtract, right? If they're giving you a total amount and they're giving you a part of that total, you find the rest by subtracting, or of course, you know, you can look at that and know that 45 plus 15 gives you 60. So now I know that the base here is 45 feet. So now I got 45 feet here. So now I have enough information to figure out common or after 1 and 2. That served its purpose. We don't need it anymore. So now we have 45 for the base, 7 feet for the adjacent side, 7 times 12, 45 times 12, convert feet to inches on both sides, and then we plug it in the Pythagorean Theorem, a squared plus b squared, in order for us to find c squared. And don't forget, you have to square root that answer. All right, so that's how you do those 4 problems at that last part of your homework assignment. And we are done. So